Discipline is the foundation of every extraordinary life. Without it, dreams remain wishes, goals remain fantasies, and opportunities pass by like shadows that never return. It is the ability to do what must be done, regardless of whether you feel like doing it or not. Most people live their lives at the mercy of their moods. They say, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I don't feel ready yet." They give in to laziness, to distraction, to comfort, and while they wait for the perfect moment, life keeps moving forward. The truth is, the perfect moment never arrives. The only way to create the future you want is to begin now, with discipline guiding your steps. Think of discipline as a bridge between your present self and your future self. On one side is who you are today, with your habits, your routines, your limitations. On the other side is the person you dream of becoming. The one who has the wealth, health, freedom, and influence you admire in others. But you cannot leap from one side to the other in a single jump. The bridge you must walk across is discipline. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you take a step forward on that bridge. Every time you give in to laziness, you step backward, or worse, stand still while others keep moving. It's important to understand that discipline is not punishment. Many people think discipline means denying yourself joy or living a rigid, joyless life. That is not true. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It means you respect yourself enough to do the things today that will give you a better tomorrow. Skipping discipline may feel good for the moment, but it always leads to regret. Practicing discipline may feel tough in the moment, but it always leads to pride. Pride in what you've accomplished, pride in who you've become, pride in knowing that you're no longer at the mercy of your moods, but are in command of your destiny. Discipline is the foundation because it touches every area of life. If you want financial freedom, you need the discipline to save, to invest, to avoid reckless spending, and to keep learning about money. If you want health, you need the discipline to exercise, to eat properly, to rest, and to say no to harmful habits. If you want meaningful relationships, you need the discipline to communicate, to listen, to be present, and to put in the effort when it would be easier to be careless. Success in any field is not built on luck or shortcuts. It is built on the daily discipline of doing what matters most, even when no one is watching. The great trap of average is the belief that you can wait until you feel ready. People say, "I'll start working out when I have more energy," or "I'll start saving money when I'm earning more." That is backward thinking. Energy comes after you work out, and more money comes after you've learned how to manage what little you already have. Discipline means doing the thing first, not waiting until you feel like it. Fortune follows action, and action is born from discipline. The good news is discipline can be developed like a muscle. No one is born with it fully formed. It starts small, with simple choices repeated consistently. Wake up when you said you would. Keep the promise you made to yourself, even if no one else will notice. Do the task today instead of pushing it off until tomorrow. Each time you follow through, you grow stronger. Each time you give in, you grow weaker. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about building momentum, about becoming the kind of person who can be trusted with success, because you've already proven you can handle responsibility. There will always be temptation to choose the easy way. The path of least resistance looks attractive, but it leads nowhere worth going. The path of discipline is harder at first, but it leads to freedom. Discipline is doing the work today, so you can enjoy the rewards tomorrow. The lazy choice gives you comfort now but pain later. The disciplined choice gives you effort now but joy later. It is the law of life, and no one escapes it. When you master discipline, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, you gain the power to master your circumstances. That is why discipline is the foundation. Without it, the other steps to fortune, learning, courage, associations, consistency, will collapse. With it, you can build anything. Discipline is the decision that today matters, that your actions matter, that your future is worth the sacrifice of comfort in the present. One day, the pain of discipline will turn into the pride of achievement. And when you look back, you'll realize that the hard choices you made were not sacrifices at all. They were investments. They bought you freedom. They bought you fortune. They bought you the life most people only dream about. Discipline is not a burden. It is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Learning is the seed from which every great achievement grows. Without learning, life becomes a cycle of repeated mistakes, wasted time, and missed opportunities. Most people stop learning the moment they leave school, as if education were something that ends with a diploma. But the truth is, real education begins when formal schooling ends. The world keeps moving forward, knowledge keeps expanding, and those who stop learning quickly fall behind. To rise above average, you must commit to becoming a lifelong student of books, of experiences, of mentors, and of life itself. What separates those who achieve fortune from those who remain stuck in mediocrity is not intelligence, not luck, not background. It is the hunger to keep learning. Every problem you face has already been solved by someone. Every success you desire has already been achieved by others. The wisdom you need is out there, waiting for you in the form of books, speeches, conversations, and even failures. But most people ignore it. They would rather spend their free time seeking entertainment than enlightenment. They fill their minds with distractions instead of knowledge. The result is predictable average results, average income, average life. Learning has the power to collapse time. Experience alone is a slow and expensive teacher. Yes, you will learn lessons from your mistakes, but they may cost you years, money, and heartbreak. A single idea from a book, a seminar, or a mentor could save you from making those costly mistakes. One insight could accelerate your progress by 5 years. Imagine the difference between stumbling blindly through trial and error versus standing on the shoulders of those who have already walked the path. That is what learning gives you, the ability to see further, faster. But learning is more than just information. It is transformation. The goal is not to collect facts but to expand your thinking, to sharpen your perspective, to open your mind to possibilities you never considered before. When you read about great leaders, entrepreneurs, philosophers, or thinkers, you absorb part of their mindset. Their courage, discipline, and strategy start to rub off on you. Learning is not about memorizing, it is about becoming. Every book you finish, every lesson you internalize, shapes your character and moves you closer to the person capable of building a fortune. The tragedy of many people is that they have access to endless knowledge, but never take advantage of it. We live in a time when wisdom is more available than ever. With a single click, you can read the greatest works of history, watch the most brilliant minds share their insights, or enroll in courses that once cost thousands. Yet, instead of seizing this treasure, most people scroll endlessly through distractions. They waste the tools of transformation, and then wonder why nothing changes. The average life is not a result of lack of opportunity, it is a result of neglecting learning. To commit to learning, you must make it a daily discipline. 10 pages a day may not seem like much, but over a year that's more than 3,000 pages, the equivalent of 10 to 15 life-changing books. Listening to an audio program for 30 minutes during your commute may feel small, but over time it could completely reshape your understanding of business, relationships, or health. The key is consistency. Just as the body grows stronger through daily exercise, the mind grows sharper through daily learning. You must also choose your sources wisely. Not all information is equal. Fill your mind with wisdom that builds, not noise that distracts. Study people who have achieved the results you want. Learn from those who have credibility, experience, and integrity. Don't be careless with what you feed your mind. It determines your future. Just as junk food damages the body, junk information damages the mind. What you consume today will show up in your decisions tomorrow. And remember, true learning is not passive. It is not enough to read and listen. You must apply. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. If you learn a new principle about money, test it in your finances. If you hear a new strategy for discipline, put it into practice today. If you discover a new perspective on relationships, apply it in your next conversation. The act of doing is what transforms information into wisdom. The person who reads but never applies is no better than the person who never read at all. The commitment to lifelong learning is what keeps you growing while others remain stagnant. It is what allows you to adapt when the world changes, to find opportunities where others see problems, and to build skills that make you indispensable. Learning keeps you curious, humble, and open to growth. It keeps you from falling into the trap of thinking you already know enough. Average people stop learning, and their lives remain average. Those who rise to fortune keep learning, and their lives expand with every new insight. The question is not whether learning works. It always does. The question is whether you are willing to make it a priority. Will you spend your hours feeding your mind or feeding your distractions? Will you invest in your growth or stay comfortable in your ignorance? One new idea, one powerful lesson, one piece of wisdom could be the spark that changes everything for you. But you must seek it out every day without fail, because fortune does not come to those who know everything. It comes to those who never stop learning. Courage is the spark that ignites every dream and turns it into reality. Without courage, knowledge lies dormant, ideas remain untested, and opportunities slip away. Fear is the invisible chain that holds people back, and only courage has the power to break it. Most people wait until they no longer feel fear before they act, but that moment never comes. Fear is part of the human experience, it does not vanish. The difference between those who remain average and those who move toward fortune is simple. The average wait for fear to disappear, while the courageous act in spite of it. Every worthwhile goal requires courage. Starting a business takes courage. Speaking up for yourself takes courage. Investing money when there are no guarantees takes courage. Asking for help, admitting you don't know, leaving behind the familiar, These all require courage. The comfort zone is safe, but it is also a prison. Nothing grows there. Nothing changes there. Nothing extraordinary happens there. Fortune, growth, and greatness always exist beyond that invisible line of safety, and the only way to cross it is with courage. Courage does not mean you are fearless. It means you are willing to act even though fear is present. The soldier who runs into battle is not free of fear. His heart is pounding, his mind is screaming, but he moves forward anyway. The speaker who steps onto the stage feels the nerves in their chest, but they deliver the message anyway. The entrepreneur who risks their savings is not free of doubt, but they take the leap anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is mastery over it. It is the decision that fear will not dictate your future. Fear is always loud in the beginning. It tells you, what if you fail? What if people laugh at you? What if you lose everything? But here's the secret, most of those fears are illusions. They live only in your imagination. They seem powerful, but when you finally face them, they shrink. How many times have you dreaded doing something, only to realize afterward it wasn't as bad as you thought? Courage reveals that most fears are lies. The more you act in spite of fear, the weaker its grip becomes. Opportunities do not wait for you to feel ready. They appear and disappear, and often they disguise themselves as challenges. If you hesitate too long, the door closes. Courage is the ability to say yes while the chance is still there. Many lives are filled with regret because of opportunities not taken. Rarely do people regret trying and failing. Almost always, they regret never trying at all. Fortune is built not only by the actions you take, but also by the risk you refuse to avoid. Courage also builds confidence. Every time you do something that scares you, your self-belief grows stronger. You start to realize that you can handle more than you thought. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you earn through courageous acts. The first time you act courageously, you may shake with fear. The second time, it gets a little easier. The third time, you begin to feel stronger. And before long, you develop the unshakable belief that you can face whatever life throws at you. That is how leaders are made, how fortunes are created, how lives are transformed, through the steady practice of courage. It is also important to remember that courage is contagious. When you show courage, you inspire others. Your children, your friends, your colleagues. They all see what's possible through your example. Just as fear spreads quickly, so does courage. A single person standing up can give strength to an entire group. History is filled with stories of individuals who dared to act when everyone else hesitated, and their courage changed the course of events. Your courage may not be written in history books, but it will shape the history of your family, your business, and your community. Many people believe they need to start with great courage to take great actions. The truth is the opposite. Start with small acts of courage, speaking up in a meeting, saying no to something that doesn't serve you, trying something new even if you might fail. These small steps build your courage muscle. Over time, you will be prepared for bigger challenges. Great courage is simply small courage practiced daily. Courage is the gateway to every dream you have. You can have discipline, knowledge, talent, and resources, but if you lack courage, you will never use them fully. You will always stop at the edge of fear, watching fortune pass by on the other side. But if you decide today that fear will no longer control you, if you choose courage as your companion, the path to fortune will open. You will discover that you are stronger than you imagined, that the world is more generous than you feared, and that success favors the bold. The truth is, life will never hand you a guarantee. There will always be uncertainty, always a chance of failure, always risk. But there is also the possibility of greatness, freedom, and fulfillment. Courage is the price you must pay to claim that possibility. And once you choose courage, fear loses its power. The chains break, the doors open, and your journey toward fortune begins. The people you spend your time with shape your destiny more than you realize. Human beings are influence creatures, and whether we like it or not, the attitudes, beliefs, and habits of those around us rub off on us. If you surround yourself with people who complain, gossip, and settle for less, you will eventually adopt their mindset. On the other hand, if you choose to walk with people who dream big, take responsibility, and push for growth, their energy will lift you higher. Associations are not casual, they are powerful. They are either pulling you up or dragging you down, and there is rarely a middle ground. Average people are careless with their associations. They spend time with whoever happens to be around, never questioning the impact of those relationships. But if you want to rise to fortune, you must be intentional. Every friendship, every conversation, every partnership should be examined with one question. Is this person helping me grow or holding me back? It doesn't mean you look down on anyone, but it does mean you must protect your future from the weight of negative influences. The truth is, we become like the people we spend the most time with. If you want to know where your life is heading, look at your closest friends. Do they challenge you or comfort your mediocrity? Do they inspire you to aim higher or encourage you to settle where you are? Energy is contagious. Beliefs are contagious. Habits are contagious. If you are constantly exposed to small thinking, you will start to think small. If you are surrounded by big vision, you will start to expand your own vision. That is the law of associations, and no one escapes it. It is also important to realize that associations affect your standards. Alone you may accept excuses, but in the company of disciplined people, your excuses sound weak. Alone you may procrastinate, but when surrounded by action takers, you feel compelled to move. Alone, you may lower your goals, but in the presence of ambitious people, you raise them. The people you walk with create the environment that either nurtures or kills your potential. That is why choosing your circle is one of the most critical decisions you will ever make. Sometimes this means making hard choices. There may be people you love dearly, but who constantly pull you down. There may be old friends whose conversations revolve around complaining, criticizing, or wasting time. You can still care for them, but you cannot afford to let their influence dominate your future. Protect your mind the same way you protect your body. You wouldn't drink poison knowingly, so why consume toxic energy daily? Associations are mental nutrition. Make sure you're feeding your mind with the right company. At the same time, seek out people who are ahead of you. Find mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. Their presence will compress time for you. They will warn you of mistakes, share shortcuts, and expand your vision simply by being who they are. When you associate with people operating on a higher level, you naturally rise to meet them. It's like climbing a mountain with an experienced guide. You move faster, safer, and with more confidence. Mentors are proof that your dreams are possible, and their influence is priceless. Peers are equally important. You need friends who are growing with you, who share your hunger, who push you to stay accountable. These are the people who will celebrate your wins, but also challenge you when you slack off. True friends don't just make you comfortable, they make you better. Average friendships revolve around entertainment and distraction. Growth friendships revolve around purpose, encouragement, and accountability. Choose wisely. Even the people you never meet directly can influence you. Books, podcasts, videos, and seminars allow you to spend time with the greatest minds of history. If you cannot find high-level associations in your immediate circle, you can still access their wisdom through learning. Imagine spending an hour with a great thinker every day through their writing. That is an association too. The more you expose yourself to great minds, the more your own mind expands. Associations also determine your emotional climate. Negativity breeds discouragement, while positivity breeds hope. If you're constantly around people who believe life is unfair, you will begin to adopt their victim mentality. But if you're surrounded by people who believe life is abundant and opportunities are everywhere, you will start seeing possibilities you never noticed before. The lens through which you see life is shaped by the company you keep. To move from average to fortune, you must be ruthless about your associations. Choose mentors who lift you. Choose friends who challenge you. Choose environments that inspire you. Distance yourself from complainers, time wasters, and negative influences. It is not about arrogance. It is about alignment. You cannot afford to tie your future to anchors. One day you will look back and realize that much of your growth, success, and fortune came not only from your own efforts, but also from the influence of those you walked with. Associations are destiny. If you want a better life, choose better people. If you want to rise, walk with those who rise. If you want fortune, surround yourself with those who think, act, and live on that level. The right associations will accelerate your journey. The wrong ones will derail it. The choice is always yours. Consistency is the quiet force that transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary results. It is not the dramatic bursts of effort that create lasting success, but the steady, repeated habits carried out day after day. Most people underestimate the power of consistency because it looks small in the moment. Reading 10 pages doesn't feel life-changing. Saving a little money doesn't feel significant. Exercising for half an hour may not show visible results immediately, but repeated over weeks, months, and years, these small actions accumulate into massive change. Consistency is the compound interest of success. It multiplies whatever you feed it. Average people quit too soon. They get excited, start strong, but lose motivation when results don't appear right away. They join the gym, go for 2 weeks, and stop because they don't see transformation. They start saving money, but when the account still looks small, they spend it instead. They begin a new skill, but when progress is slow, they give up. Fortune belongs to those who stay consistent long after the excitement fades. The results you want are waiting for you, but only consistency has the key to unlock them. Consistency is what builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you prove to yourself that your word matters. Every time you break that promise, you weaken your self-belief. Confidence does not come from wishful thinking, it comes from evidence. When you consistently show up, you create a track record of reliability that fuels your faith in your own abilities. Over time, you stop doubting whether you can achieve something, because you have proven to yourself that you can stick with it. Think of consistency like planting seeds. No farmer plants one day and expects a harvest the next. They plant, water, and wait, trusting that the process will work. Consistency is the daily watering of your goals. You may not see growth for a while, but beneath the surface, roots are spreading, strength is forming, and one day the results will break through. The tragedy is that most people quit right before the breakthrough. They walk away from the field because they didn't see instant growth, not realizing how close they were to the harvest. Consistency also creates momentum. At first, effort feels heavy, just like pushing a car that won't start. But once it begins to move, it gets easier with each push. Habits work the same way. At first, discipline feels hard. But as you stay consistent, it turns into routine, and routine turns into identity. You no longer struggle to do the thing. It becomes part of who you are. The gym is no longer a battle, it's just what you do. Reading daily is no longer a chore, it's simply part of your life. Consistency transforms effort into ease by reshaping your habits and identity. One of the greatest benefits of consistency is compounding. Just like money invested grows exponentially over time, consistent actions multiply in impact. One book read doesn't change your life, but 100 books over 5 years can transform your mind completely. One workout doesn't make you healthy, but 5 years of workouts make you a different person. $1 saved is small, but thousands saved consistently turn into financial freedom. The secret to fortune is not doing huge things once. It is doing small things consistently until the reward becomes huge. Consistency requires patience. In a world addicted to instant results, patience is rare. People want quick fixes, shortcuts, overnight success. But real success is built layer upon layer, day upon day. Impatience is what keeps people average. They jump from one plan to another, never staying long enough to see results. Those who achieve fortune understand that time is a partner, not an enemy. They respect the process and trust the compound effect of consistency. Of course, consistency is not about perfection. You will miss days, you will stumble. But true consistency is about returning quickly, not quitting permanently. Missing one day does not matter, missing months does. Falling down is not failure, refusing to get back up is. Consistency allows room for mistakes, but it demands that you keep going regardless. That persistence is what separates those who achieve fortune from those who only dream about it. The beauty of consistency is that it's available to everyone. You don't need special talent, luck, or resources. You just need the decision to keep showing up. While others burn out chasing instant gratification, you can build something enduring by simply refusing to quit. Step by step, day by day, you will outlast the impatient, outgrow the inconsistent, and outperform the average. In the end, consistency is the great equalizer. It makes the impossible possible by breaking it down into daily actions. It transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It takes you from where you are to where you want to be. Not through sudden leaps, but through steady steps. Fortune does not come to those who dabble. It comes to those who stay consistent long enough for success to compound. One day, people will look at your life and call you lucky. They won't see the years of small, consistent actions that created the results, but you will know the truth. You will know that fortune is not built in a day, but built every day. And the secret ingredient that makes it possible is consistency. Average is not something people are born into. It is a decision, whether conscious or unconscious, that shapes the direction of life. Many people defend their average results by blaming circumstances, luck, or other people. They say, I was not given the same opportunities, or life is unfair. While circumstances can make the journey harder, they do not decide the destination. The truth is that remaining average is always a choice. Every day, through the habits you keep, the actions you take, and the standards you accept, you either choose to rise above or settle where you are. Average feels safe. It is the comfort of doing what everyone else is doing. It is the easy path of not standing out, not risking embarrassment, not failing publicly. But average also carries a hidden cost, the cost of regret. When you settle for less than you are capable of, you carry within you the weight of unfulfilled potential. Years later, you look back and wonder what could have been if only you had chosen differently. Fortune does not ask you to be perfect. It asks you to stop settling for average. The first way average shows up is in decisions. People who live average lives tend to make choices based on convenience instead of values. They ask, what is easiest right now? Instead of, what will benefit me in the long run? They choose the couch over exercise, entertainment over learning, excuses over effort. Each small decision seems harmless in the moment, but over time, it compounds into mediocrity. On the other hand, those who build fortunes choose discipline over comfort, growth over excuses, and long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. Every choice either builds or destroys your future. An average is simply the result of too many small, easy choices. Average also shows up in standards. People living average lives accept less from themselves than they are capable of. They say, "This is good enough," when they know they could have done better. They give half effort at work, cut corners in their commitments, and settle for relationships that drain them instead of inspire them. The dangerous thing about low standards is that they become normal. Over time, you no longer notice how much you've lowered your expectations of yourself. Fortune requires you to raise your standards, to demand more from yourself than others demand from you. Another way average becomes a choice is in the refusal to grow. Most people stop learning after formal education, believing that school was the end of growth. They enter the working world and repeat the same year of experience over and over again, never expanding, never improving. But the world is always changing. Those who refuse to grow quickly fall behind. Average people stay stuck in the same routines for decades because they never make the choice to stretch beyond their comfort zone. Fortune belongs to those who keep learning, evolving, and adapting. Growth is a choice, just as stagnation is a choice. Fear is one of the biggest reasons people choose average. They fear failure, rejection, and judgment. So they shrink their dreams to fit inside what feels safe. They convince themselves they are content, but deep down, they know they are hiding. Fortune requires courage. The courage to step beyond fear, to take risks, to embrace the possibility of failure. Choosing average is choosing fear over courage. Choosing fortune is choosing action in spite of fear. Average is also reinforced by environment. If everyone around you is satisfied with mediocrity, it feels normal to settle too. People rarely rise above the level of their associations, unless they make a conscious decision to break free. That's why fortune requires surrounding yourself with people who demand more, who inspire more, who live at a higher standard. It is easy to be average in a group of average people. It is impossible to remain average in a group of people committed to greatness. Choosing your circle is choosing your future. The most liberating truth is that you don't have to remain average. No matter where you start, you can make a new decision today. The past does not lock you into mediocrity. Every great story begins with a choice to stop settling. Some people were broke, uneducated, or overlooked, but they decided average was not their destiny. They chose to work harder, learn more, and refuse excuses. That choice created a new future. If others can rise, so can you. It may be easier to live average in the short term, but in the long run, average costs more. It costs dreams, freedom, health, and joy. The price of fortune is discipline, effort, and risk, but the price of average is regret, limitation, and frustration. Both paths require a payment, but only one gives you the life you truly want. Every day you are presented with the choice to stay average or rise above. That choice is not made once. It is made in the little moments. When the alarm rings in the morning. When you decide how to spend your time. When you choose between excuses and effort. These choices add up. Over time, they create your destiny. The truth is simple: average is a choice, and so is fortune. No one is stuck unless they choose to be. No one is ordinary unless they accept it. If you want more, decide today that you will no longer settle. Refuse to live average, and life will open doors that others will never see. The decision is always yours. Opportunities never arrive wrapped in comfort. They are almost always found beyond the edges of what feels safe, familiar, and easy. The comfort zone is where routines are predictable, risks are minimal, and life feels manageable. But it is also where growth dies. Nothing new is created in comfort, because comfort protects you from the very challenges that would shape you into someone stronger. The truth is simple. Every opportunity that has the power to change your life will demand that you step into the unknown. If you refuse to leave your comfort zone, you refuse the opportunities that lead to fortune. Most people spend their lives protecting comfort. They choose familiar jobs, safe conversations, and predictable routines. They avoid risks because they don't want the discomfort of failure or rejection. But in doing so, they also avoid the rewards of progress. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. You must trade one for the other. The person who chases comfort ends up with neither comfort nor growth, because stagnation eventually turns into frustration. The person who chases growth must endure discomfort for a season, but in return, they gain opportunities that create lasting comfort later. Opportunities are disguised as problems. They come in the form of challenges, responsibilities, or risks that scare you. Starting a business feels uncertain. Speaking to a crowd feels intimidating. Making an investment feels risky. Meeting new people feels uncomfortable. But each of these situations carries within it the chance to change your life. The problem is that fear convinces you to stay where you are. Fear whispers, what if you fail? What if you embarrass yourself? What if you lose everything? But the real question is, What if you succeed? What if the discomfort you fear is the very doorway to the life you've always wanted? Think about every breakthrough you've had in life. The first time you learned a new skill, it felt uncomfortable. The first time you spoke up in class or at work, your voice may have shaken. The first time you tried something new, you doubted yourself. But you grew, you adapted, and you improved. That pattern never changes. Every level of growth will demand that you step into discomfort once again. The difference is that the more you practice it, the more comfortable you become with being uncomfortable. Leaving the comfort zone is not about reckless risk. It is about calculated courage. It means being willing to stretch yourself beyond what you know while still moving with wisdom. Opportunities require faith. Faith that you can learn what you don't yet know, that you can recover from mistakes, and that you can handle more than you think. Too many people wait until they feel fully ready before they act. But readiness is an illusion. You never feel completely ready. You become ready by stepping forward, not by waiting. Opportunities are also time sensitive. They do not wait forever. The job opening will be filled. The chance to invest will pass. The person you want to connect with will move on. If you hesitate too long in the comfort zone, you miss your moment. Fortune is not built on waiting for perfect conditions. Fortune is built on seizing opportunities before they vanish. Comfort will always tell you, not yet, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, but opportunity does not knock forever. The courageous act now. Another truth about opportunities is that they are often uncomfortable because they reveal your weaknesses. When you step into something new, you discover skills you don't yet have, knowledge you lack, and fears you must confront. That is why most people retreat back into comfort. It feels safer to avoid those weaknesses. But those weaknesses are exactly what you need to strengthen in order to rise. Discomfort is the signal that growth is happening. If it feels easy, you are not growing. If it feels uncomfortable, you are becoming more. The comfort zone is like a cage. It feels safe, but it keeps you trapped. The world outside the cage is bigger, brighter, and filled with possibilities. But you must first be willing to test your wings. Every successful person you admire once stood at the edge of their comfort zone, terrified of what was beyond. The only difference is that they stepped forward anyway. They chose the discomfort of growth over the safety of stagnation, and that choice opened doors that would have stayed locked forever otherwise. If you want to move from average to fortune, you must train yourself to see discomfort as a friend. When you feel nervous, afraid, or uncertain, it is usually a sign that you are standing at the doorway of an opportunity. Instead of retreating, lean in. Ask yourself, what if this challenge is the very thing I need to rise higher? Over time, your relationship with discomfort changes. You no longer avoid it. You seek it, because you know that is where transformation lies. Life will give you many chances, but they will almost always come disguised as risks. If you want to stay average, stay comfortable. But if you want fortune, step outside. Dare to risk failure. Dare to risk discomfort. Dare to risk looking foolish for a while. Because on the other side of that risk is the opportunity that will redefine your life. Fortune is not something that falls into your lap by accident. It is not won in a lottery or stumbled upon in luck. Real fortune is built step by step, decision by decision, discipline by discipline. People who believe that wealth, success, and fulfillment are matters of chance remain trapped in mediocrity because they wait for something outside of their control. The truth is that fortune is never found. It is constructed with deliberate effort, with consistent habits, and with the relentless pursuit of growth. The idea of finding fortune makes people passive. They wait for the right time, the right connections, or the right circumstance before taking action. They tell themselves, when the opportunity comes, I'll be ready. But opportunities only reveal themselves to those already moving, already working, already building. The farmer does not find a harvest by accident. He builds it by planting seeds, by caring for the soil, and by patiently waiting through seasons. The same is true of life. Fortune comes to the builder, not the dreamer who waits. The foundation of fortune is discipline. Every fortune ever built was the result of small, consistent actions repeated over time. It's not the dramatic, once-in-a-lifetime decision that creates success, but the daily choices no one else sees. Waking up early, saving a little, studying a little, exercising a little, pushing a little further. These are the bricks that build fortune. Average people look for shortcuts, believing there must be a secret formula. But the secret is consistency. Do what matters, do it daily, and fortune becomes inevitable. Another critical part of building fortune is vision. You cannot build what you cannot see. People who lack vision drift through life, hoping luck will lead them somewhere better. But those who build fortune have a picture in their minds of what they want their future to look like. That vision guides their decisions, sharpens their focus, and gives them the strength to keep working when the effort feels heavy. Fortune is not built randomly. It is built with intention, by people who know where they are going and why. Building fortune also requires patience. We live in a world addicted to speed, where people expect results immediately. But fortune never comes overnight. It grows in stages. Just like a tree does not bear fruit the day after it is planted, fortune takes time to develop. Impatience is why many give up. They quit watering their seeds just before the harvest would have come. Those who understand patience stay the course, trusting that their effort will pay off. They do not chase instant gratification. They build long-term reward. One of the most overlooked elements in building fortune is character. If you want your success to last, it must rest on integrity, discipline, and values. Many people rise quickly, but because they have not built character, they collapse just as fast. Fortune without foundation is fragile. That is why it's better to build slowly with honesty and strength than to chase shortcuts that compromise who you are. The fortune you build should be something you are proud of, something that reflects your values, not just your bank account. Building fortune also requires learning. You cannot expect to create more if you remain the same. Knowledge and skill are tools, and the more tools you acquire, the more capable you become of creating fortune. Those who stop learning limit their building power. Every book read, every mentor listened to, every mistake analyzed adds another tool to your belt. Fortune is built by those who never stop improving themselves, because they understand that as they grow, their capacity to create wealth and success grows too. Perhaps the most powerful truth is that fortune is built for others as much as it is for yourself. When you build a business, you create opportunities for others. When you build wisdom, you can teach and inspire. When you build wealth, you can provide and give back. Fortune is not just about accumulation. It is about contribution. Those who build with only themselves in mind often end up empty, but those who build with the intention to serve others find fulfillment as well as success. Fortune requires persistence. Obstacles will come. Failure will knock you down. Critics will doubt you. But building is not about avoiding setbacks. It is about continuing despite them. Every builder faces storms. The difference between those who stop and those who succeed is persistence. You keep going. You adjust. You rebuild. You keep laying bricks even when the progress feels slow. Persistence is what transforms effort into results. In the end, fortune is not found. It is built. It is not about waiting for the perfect opportunity. It is about creating opportunities through action. It is not about luck. It is about discipline. It is not about shortcuts. It is about consistent growth. Fortune is the product of vision, patience, character, learning, contribution, and persistence. If you want it, you must build it. If you commit to the process, fortune cannot hide from you. It will rise from the very work of your hands.